Hi everyone, welcome to June 2024 St Albans Property Meet. We are at the venue, and as I say, summer is starting to kick in. I hope anyway, when I'm looking around everywhere else. Right, we've got Craig, who's one of the co-hosts of the event, and he's going to give us a bit of insight. Just a quick intro, Craig. Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Big things
along, Jake.
happening today.
Yeah.
So first of all, 14th
14
anniversary.
years, 14th anniversary of the
Wow.
Hemel and Albans Property Networking. So we're all celebrating that today.
And I know Julie's got a few surprises for that. Number two, we've got
been nominated for an award for Property Community of the Year at the Blue Brick. So fingers crossed we may win that.
And you know, Tax is one of the media and tax partners, or the media and tax partners, and we're looking forward to interviewing everyone there. And number three, we've got a special guest today.
We have a special guest. Now, a couple of months ago, we told you that we were dog friendly. We are also parrot friendly. We are the only property parrot friendly networking group in the UK, and shortly you'll get to meet Dory, who's a lovely blue and yellow macaw parrot.
He's killed it there. He's going to be amazing. We're going to have the first parrot on TV, I think, or on the property event. Look forward to it. Hi everyone, we've got an entrepreneur with an edge today, and he's got a very important VIP guest with him called Dory the Parrot. Hi Ben.
Hi.
Thank you, I'd shake your hand there. And oh my God, and this is the bit that's going to be watched a lot because everyone loves this exotic creature here. Where did you get the parrot from? Where is it originally from?
I rehoused her. So during lockdown, I had a small parrot who was coming to the end of his life. So at that point, I was like, do I get another parrot? Do I not? Went up and drove about 3.5 hours up north. Saw that she wasn't in the best care, so decided to rehome her.
Wow.
And, yes, I've had her just over 3 years now.
Beautiful. How old is she?
6.
6. And is that like dog years and same
No,
knowing,
so
or are they
they can live up to 80 years.
80 years? So it's quite comparative human years.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, what a difference maker. And also, another important part, Ben is a local entrepreneur that does a lot in the property world,
Yeah.
from what I was speaking to you. So you said to me you're in architecture.
Yeah, run an architecture firm, run an interior firm supplying kitchens, bedrooms and bathrooms with a high-end kitchen showroom. In construction as well, that predominantly does all the work for those, and property development as well, focusing on new build developments of
Wow,
sort of 5 to 12 units at a time.
wow. So do you buy the land and then build straight off,
Yeah.
or buy them half built, or?
It really varies. Sourcing the land's the real challenge. Predominantly looking around the home counties, but we're normally getting them without planning.
Yeah.
We get an option agreement in place to get the planning. Then once we have, we can develop them out.
The reason why I mentioned, we just saved a client on stamp duty land tax about 125 grand, because you have to understand the rules. Even with the changes, as we're speaking in June, the rules have slightly changed. In certain reliefs you can't claim, but there's still opportunity if you get good planning. And it's all about advice, as you all know, being an architect, right? It's all about that knowledge that you've got and understanding and making it a difference maker. So you do like 5 to 12 plots. Do you just sell them off, or do you hold on to any of them?
Previously, we were just sold off, but now looking to retain as many as we can,
Okay.
depending on what the exit strategy is on the finance.
So one of the key things that you need to be aware of is there's a difference between property developers and property investors from a tax perspective. So developers is like stock, and if you don't sell it, it triggers a dry tax charge off. So you've got to be careful. Even if you haven't sold it, you may end up paying tax unless you structure it properly. And the key thing is to know at the beginning what your plan is, get the right advice, structure it really well, makes a huge difference. And also how you exit.
Yeah.
One of the other exits is how you're going to sell it. Are you going to sell the physical property to a person who's going to make it a main house, or are you going to send it to an investor? Because if you're selling an investor, I will sell the shares and you can pay no percent, zero in capital gains tax or corporation tax. So tax planning is huge on this. So really get it, and definitely think about that at the beginning.
Definitely.
And on your exit, it'll make you huge money profits, because most people concentrate on obviously the sales and generating the value and the gross development value, which is GDV, but they don't concentrate on the actual exit and the journey. And that's where they lose a lot of money. As many will know, earning a pound is not easy, especially in the current climate. Have you found the advice useful?
Very helpful.
And do you know what? Dory's got some fans already, and that's my two sons, because when they watch this, they're going to say, Dada, did you speak to Dory? Dory, how you doing?
You good?
Oh, wow. And she
you go.
does say some words, doesn't she?
She can, yeah. There's too much noise and stimulation for her at the minute. But when it's a lot quieter, you can hear her talk quite easily.
Perfect. And obviously Ben will tag him on some of the socials, and he'll be able to obviously give some comments, and he can probably help you on your entrepreneur journey, especially if you're in property. This guy has got some knowledge about loads of different areas, and that's a difference maker. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Cheers.
Go.
Hi everyone, we got Kash here, who's the expert in the corner, and he expertise is financing and bridge financing. Kash.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Kash, you were telling me off there about a couple of areas that you've helped entrepreneurs recently, and I know the audience will love getting the value here. Number one, you were talking about conversions from buy-to-lets to HMOs and doing obviously the C3 to C4 sewage to generous. How have you helped them on the financing perspective on the change in value? Just explain to the audience a couple of insights on that.
Sure. Hello. Good evening, everyone. So we have helped a couple of investors buying properties, the C3 use on a bridging finance.
Yeah.
So essentially, they buy the property through bridge, and the plan is that they convert into a HMO. Now, as you understand that you can't buy a buy-to-let property on a buy-to-let mortgage
Yes.
and then convert it.
Yes.
So the idea is that we help them get a bridging finance, but not only that, we help them actually fund the refurbishment.
So really good point there, and to the value to the audience is, what value do you do it? You don't do it at the buy-to-let, you do it at the revised value? Is that how you work with the conversions HMOs, or how do you do it? What do you base the financing on?
So the financing is based on the purchase price, which is typically 70 to 75% of the purchase.
Yeah.
And then we fund 100% of the refurb, as
Right.
long as the loan to GDV doesn't cross 75%.
Got it.
So this bridging lenders, they would look at the loan to GDV, and it's very important that those numbers stack up. So all the investors and developers need is typically 30 to 35% to get into the deal, and we can fund 70% of the purchase price, typically 75%, 100% of the refurb. They go in, do the conversion, and we can also help with the HMO mortgages.
So, and then in the end, you do the refinancing on the actual mortgage on the HMO.
That's correct.
On the new value. So you've helped them through the journey. So you, first of all, you helped them get the property at a good ratio, 70-75%. Then you've helped them with the refurb, with 100% of the refurb. And then you've revised it, because they're all on bridge,
Yes.
to a proper lending. Don't you love that? The other area that I want to talk about, and I know I get so many investors and developers asking, is title splitting. And if John Howard is watching, I know you love this area, and I will tag you in just because of that, right? Private joke, right? He's always talking about, he doesn't think about a title splitting, but title splitting is huge. So you've done some recently, you were saying you bought a block, and you've done it on the future value.
Yes. So the way the title splitting works is, one of my clients, she bought a block of 8 flats, and she bought through a bridge.
Yeah.
The idea is that you buy the block which is on one title with the bridge, and then during the term of the bridging term, you split the title.
Yes.
Now, when you split the title, of course, the value of the block increases.
Yes.
So the idea is that you buy with the bridge, split the title, and then you refinance it. So we help the investor buy the block with the bridge. She went away, split the title, and then we refinance on the end value to pull all the money out.
Wow. And do you know what? That's huge value. And one of the biggest areas, we've done a few of these recently, one of the areas people don't realize, if you don't get tax specialist advice on what you just mentioned, you're going to get hammered. Because if you don't understand group structures and you don't get them done properly and get the timing right, you're going to miss so much opportunities. Was that a mixed block, or was it just pure residential?
Pure residential.
Okay, but for stamp duty, that will meet certain different criteria. So you would save on stamp, you may initially, and the structure, and then on the split. Because if you split it, the freehold and the leasehold have to be in 2 different entities. That will may trigger a stamp duty off, and potentially capital gains tax or corporation tax. So you've got to get good advice to mitigate all of that and structure it properly. And that's where the financing, working with the lawyers as well as the accountancy tax, are key.
I think you touched upon stamp duty there, Z. It's quite important that the investors and developers understand that there are some reliefs available, and you are more than you're an expert on the stamp duty. In this case, I think my client did speak to a stamp duty expert, and she got the relief what she wanted. So I think it's possible. So definitely, if you're buying block of flats, definitely speak to someone like Z on the stamp duty, because there are some reliefs possible where you can actually save some money.
I think Kash would say really well with there. It's all about collaboration and having a good power team of trusted advisors who do different things, but they talk to each other. That is where it falls down. I no disrespect the lawyers, I'm going to be a bit biased here. You need to talk. Just like us accountants, just like us finance people, they all need to talk and get along because there's a plan. You've got different expertise that you bring to the table. If you don't do that, funny enough, the client loses out and you've not got a happy bunny to deal with going forward. Kash, you're going to add so much value. So
Thank
really
you very much.
appreciate it.
Nice to
Hope
meet
that was
you.
useful. Don't you love St. Albans Property Meet, 14th year anniversary, Craig and Julie in the back, and we're enjoying the weather. I should have put the shades on now, I think, still. Hi everyone, today we've got gamekeeper turned poacher, as Alistair mentioned. Alistair, thank you. So Alistair used to be the chair of the St. Albans Planning Committee.
That's right.
Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, a few years back now, but I still remember it.
And you've also done investments on the other side where you've asked for permission, right?
That's
For
right.
lending.
Yeah, I'm now a regular developer and a landlord and Airbnb host. Yeah, so fingers in a few pies.
So I'm going to ask some questions, and I know the audience will love the value on this. Is, I guess, one of the first thing you mentioned, Airbnb. What's the planning attitude of the planning committee to people doing Airbnb in St. Albans or in the St. Albans district?
Well, in St Albans itself, fairly negative. So, but they'll only react if someone makes a complaint. But if someone makes a complaint, they will serve an enforcement notice on you, which you'll then need to take to appeal. So you'll be okay for a couple of years, but then you'd stand the risk of losing the appeal.
So do you recommend them changing planning class? I assume they're C3 and they're going to probably change planning classes. Is that what you suggest? Or?
Well, you could do, but at the moment, Airbnb, of course, doesn't have a planning class. It'll be what's known as sui generis, which means of its own kind. So it'll be very much taken on a case-by-case basis. But of course, there is talk about, Gove no longer survived, did he? But there was talk of new legislation coming through, which I suspect, if Labour win the election, they will push forward as well, which will create a new
Just to
planning
unpack
class.
that, I think in Wales they've already done that.
That's
They've got,
right, yeah.
But what a lot of people are suggesting, because of the tax changes as well, where they're formalising is C1, i.e. for service accommodation and hotel, is a suggestion because that currently, as we speak, can protect your tax status.
That's right.
Yes, and I think that's going to become really important because previously taxes had one rule, planning's had another rules.
Indeed.
And now they're
Yeah.
making them all, lining them up. So I think that's going to be one of the challenges, right?
I think it is. I think that the consensus is going to be Airbnb is not going to be such an attractive option. I mean, it was a great way to avoid Section 24, but they're starting to close the loophole on that, and certainly trying to close the loophole on the capital allowances as well. So if you have got an Airbnb, make sure you get that claim in before next April, regardless.
Yeah, there's double whammy. They haven't obviously given us the details behind how they're going to do it. That's going to be interesting if we have a new leadership. So capital allowances, as Alistair mentioned, one of the things. The second thing is the trading status. And people don't realise how powerful that is because that income is pensionable, which is a difference maker because you can then mitigate your tax and you can claim other aspects that you can't do in normal buy-to-lets. This is why getting good tax advice, especially on service accommodation stroke furnished holiday let, is so important, and how you would manage it going forward. And the outcome
certainly
as well.
from a planning point of view, it's going to be a challenge because the previous white paper was talking about limiting it to 90 days, the same as Central London. But the real devil was in the detail. They're going to start limiting it to your own home as well. So it means that any additional buy-to-let property wouldn't qualify for any Airbnb use whatsoever. So we'll have to see what happens. But I wouldn't expect any incoming government to be any kinder, put it that way.
Really good point, Alistair. Why do you think it's driving? Is it really shortage of housing that they're pretending to say is causing the problem, or is it other perspectives? Because for me, one of the other perspective is, being someone who worked in the banking sector, is the banks are now buying quite a lot of properties. So they are divesting and changing their structures. Is that got a little tip in why the government suddenly are becoming more and more anti-landlords?
Well, there's conspiracy theories everywhere, see. We never know. But what we do know are the facts. And yes, the big banks, there's talk of Lloyd's Bank becoming one of the biggest residential landlords in Britain, isn't there?
NatWest as well.
But it's certainly attacking the Airbnb market. It's a very, very convenient smokescreen for hiding the real problem, is the fact that we're just simply not building enough houses. The last time we built anywhere near enough houses was just after the Second World War. And we remember the 80th celebration of that today. So there you go. We haven't been building enough houses for 80 years, more or less just recently.
I guess one of the key things, and I love the audience will love all the value you're creating, is what is the key tips that you learned from being on both sides, that when you're doing a planning application, especially on new builds and things like this, what would you recommend someone really make sure they do to get it processed and passed and therefore be able to do what they want to do?
Really focus on the quality of your application. Effectively, try and do the planning officer's job for him up front. The more reports you can perceive up front, listen to a good planning consultant as well, and make sure that planning consultant's got a history with that particular authority, because you can literally cross the other side of the street and get a very different viewpoint if you happen to go to a neighbouring authority. So work with your planning consultant, listen to him, and invest in those reports and things you may need, and package the whole thing together so it goes in as one complete response. Otherwise, with the workload they've got, it's going to run the whole 8 weeks, and then an hour before the deadline they're going to come back to you and say, we want this, we want that, and you're going to end up, and if you don't give it to them and don't agree to the extension, you know what's coming. It's going to be the refusal.
That's a great tip, and I'll finish on one other one that's a big thing still, is conversions from commercial to resi. How are you finding, because it's obviously under PD and the 56-day rule, how are you finding the current attitude of the council towards these? Because different districts are finding different ways to prevent some of this happening. How are you finding the local area, say Albans, and from your insight?
In St Albans, it's really poor. I've had 3, I'm not proud of this being the ex-chair of the committee, but I've had 3 consecutive PD applications for a simple 6-metre deep rear extension refused by St Albans Council on the most ridiculous grounds. The last one was he said that I hadn't proven that the eaves height at the back was lower than the existing roof. So my answer was, I hadn't proved that water runs uphill either. So there you go, this is how ridiculous it can be. And that objection literally again came 70 minutes before the 8-week deadline. So again, quality application, make sure you try and foresee every ridiculous objection possible and make sure you've covered it up front. Otherwise, they'll ask for these extensions or they'll just reject you at the last minute, and then you're back and you're playing the whole 8-week game again every time. And
Just to
8 weeks is expensive.
Is to summarise the value. Alistair's given us so much insight. Get a planning consultant. Make sure they know the local officers. Make sure you got OTT on the tick list of all the things you require.
Yeah.
And then you can hopefully add that value and make a difference, right?
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Yeah.
And also try to probably build a relationship with the planning officer if possible.
Yeah, try and remember they're only human. And they're working for not great salaries. Most of them could earn more money in the private sector. And it's not probably the greatest environment to work in, let's be honest. And they are under pressure. That's not a sympathy vote for them because they can be very difficult and awkward. But yeah, any opportunity you've got to build a relationship, then go for it. It can't do any harm.
As I say, you can't beat St Albans Property Meet where you meet local aspects from professionals, different people with different exposure, and Alistair, former chairperson of the St Albans planning team, can't beat that for local planning. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Alistair.
Thanks for your
Really
time,
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Love it. Right now we're going to wrap up the 2024 June 14th year anniversary of St Albans Property Meet. You can see the party animal Julie is, because she's a part. You enjoyed the party. You're the person who makes this event happen, you and Craig. Of course.
Oh my goodness, the slander. What can I
I'm going
say?
to be all around in trouble.
It has been an amazing event. We've had so many newbies attend tonight as well, which has been amazing because we've learned from people why they've attended. And the reason why they are attending is because they want to learn. And they want to learn from an event that doesn't have an underlying, agenda of selling them a course or selling them something. Literally, Craig and I are here because we absolutely enjoy it. I won't swear on camera. We do absolutely enjoy it, and we've had 14 years of doing this, and it's been amazing. And we have been nominated for Property Community of the Year at the Blue Bricks Awards. So fingers crossed for us next week.
And as everyone knows, Surtax is the media and tax partners of the Blue Bricks Award. And we're looking forward to interviewing people there and hopefully some winners. So this is going to be huge. And I've got to finish off. We all know who the VIP guest was this week, or month I should say. It was Dory the Parrot.
Absolutely.
That's going to make the whole thing, everything, and we know we loved it. So thank you, Julie, once again for being a great host. Gotta love it. That was June 2024, Albans Property Mate.